Welcome to season 15 of the Parenting Aces podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Stone, and this week we have back with us Coach Rod Ray of Wofford University. Rod was on a couple years ago, and I'm super excited to have him back. He brings 26 years of coaching experience to us, and the things he has seen, the changes he's seen, and the ways he's adapted his recruiting and coaching over that time period are really stuff that we can all learn from. He also is the parent of two sons, one of whom is a tennis player, now a tennis coach, a college tennis coach. So I think you're going to learn a lot this week, and I'm excited for you to hear from my friend, Coach Rod Ray. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Coach Rod Ray, welcome back to the podcast. It's great to see your smile, and I'm super excited to jump right in today.
Lisa, I'm glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me. It's been it was 2 years ago that we had a conversation together.
Yeah, and a lot has changed in those 2 years, both in terms of your work, but also in terms of college tennis and all the changes happening there. And I think we have a lot to talk about, and I'm excited for you to share your experiences and your expertise with our Parenting Aces community. So let's dive right in. For my audience that may not have watched or listened to our previous episode, just a reminder, you are the coach at Wofford. So, and you've been there for how many years now?
Yeah, this is year 26.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You are an anomaly in the world of college tennis coaches, I think. There aren't a whole lot of you that have been around as long as you have. And I think we have to take advantage of the work that you have done, the changes you have seen, and your ability to really pivot as college tennis has pivoted and as technology around college tennis and recruiting have pivoted. So where should we start?
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, what a great sport and a great show and a great service that your show does to parents. And you know what where when the children land with me, they've gone through a lot, right? A
Right.
lot of development and a lot of tennis. But the parents are still involved in the obviously in their children's lives, and we want that, and we want that for a lifetime, right? The old tagline used to be that tennis was the sport of a lifetime, but that's still true, right? Um,
Especially with all the recent science behind it, right? That tennis participation in tennis can extend the life expectancy, and that's for a lot of reasons, not just the physical aspects of
right. So
development.
we're talking about the healthiest sport. So like on my team, I have a senior on my team. Um, his his father is a coach and was a great player, and his grandfather is excited about his birthday because he just turned 80, and he's a nationally ranked 80 player, so he gets to move up from the 75s to the 80s. And he looks great, and he's articulate, and he's got energy, and he doesn't live too far away, so he gets to come to some of the matches. And he had some health problems last year, and he was excited about getting past the health problems so he could play in the 80s, and he had that to look forward to. And I think that's where tennis is just so great. Um, and then I have on in a few weeks, I have an alumni dinner for former players, and I've got bunches of former players coming back for a dinner. Some of them are flying in, some are driving in. Um, but I've been reflecting on these young men and their lives as tennis players, and it's incredible. So
Well, and it's not just that you're impacting their lives as tennis players, right, Rod? I mean, your role as their college coach goes way beyond
yeah,
hitting fuzzy yellow balls over the net.
right, way beyond, right, way beyond. And we just the Olympics have been on TV, and behind every great Olympian, there's a story, right? And behind every great tennis player, there's a story. There's the people part, right? And we bring our people part to the court with us, or to our lives, and to the training ground. So it is far beyond just hitting the ball. We got to be good at hitting the ball. We want to be an expert in, I want to be an expert in the development of hitting the ball, but I need to be an expert in the development of the other parts of the person as well. There's a holistic approach to it, right?
Right. And I would love to kind of dive into how you look at the recruiting process as
Yeah.
part of that holistic approach, some of the things that you're looking for. And listen, recruiting has changed dramatically in the 15 years that I've
Yep.
been doing Parenting Aces. It's certainly changed dramatically in the, what did you say, 26 years that
Right.
you've been
Yes.
coaching.
Yeah.
So, how has your approach to recruiting changed
Mm.
with all of these other things that are changing in the background?
Well, I think the number one thing that hasn't changed is I want good people. That's the number one thing. And I think,
And what does that mean to you, though,
yeah,
Rod?
right,
Good
right.
people.
So they come, it's an individual sport, and then we put it in a team environment. And they've got to be able to get along with people. Um, they've got to be, well, we know that tennis teaches resilience. So you need to be resilient, right? I mean,
Hmm.
everybody on our team is a really good player, and everybody we play against is a really good player. Um, they're gonna come to us. I mean, for example, I had a player who played high school tennis, and his high school tennis record was something like 105-0. And
Wow.
and so he didn't lose. He played tournament tennis as well, of course, but his high school record was something like 105-0. I think it was. Well, he came to college and he lost a lot, and so it takes a great person to handle that as a young age. But that's one of the things that life really that that life teaches us, but tennis teaches us that helps us with that. So another
So
part of
let me interrupt you
yeah.
1 second, Rod, because this is an interesting story, right? Here's this kid who was undefeated on the high school tennis court, likely faced some losses in tournament tennis if he was playing tournaments as well. But what did you see in that player that, besides his record, that made you feel confident that he was going to be able to come into your team environment and be an asset to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, he loved tennis. This particular person that I'm thinking of, he loved tennis, and so if we're going to bring somebody into our program, and they're going to train 20 hours a week, and they're going to compete home or away every weekend, we want it to be somebody who really likes this tennis piece. And I'm at a really good academic school, so they like the academic piece, but those two go hand in hand. But they've got to show on the tennis court that for me to want to recruit them, I've got to understand, like, yep, this person's in it. Like, they really like tennis. And not all good players like tennis. Sometimes maybe they start out liking it and then they don't like it later. Um, and that's okay. But if they really like tennis, that's a big piece. If they like being part of a team, if they're a people person, right? If they enjoy other people, and they're willing to enjoy other people, um, then that's a big piece of it as well. But I think to have a certain amount of energy a person has, they bring a certain they right. We think about there's two types of people: those that bring energy and those that suck energy. And we want people on the team that are going to bring energy and bring kindness and bring teamwork, bring empathy, seek understanding and love people. I mean, that if I can get and this year's team, I have that group. I have a really great group of young people, and they are like that, and so it makes practice fun every day. Like, there hadn't been a day that I haven't looked forward to being with them, and they haven't looked forward to being with each other. Um, Not every team is like that. I haven't had every team like that, and other coaches. There are coaches out there who've had it, but or don't have it right now, right?
Hmm.
But that's what if we have that, it's like a person who likes their work environment, right? They like the people they go to work with. So same thing there. So if we get that piece right, then it makes it better. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We have talked on this podcast, and you and I exchanged this in emails about NIL, name, image, likeness,
Okay.
and what impact it is having on college recruiting, and specifically to tennis. We know that NIL deals in tennis look very different from NIL deals in the revenue sports at the collegiate level. But let's talk a little bit about that and where a program like Wofford fits into that NIL ecosystem.
Yeah.
How does a smaller school continue to compete for top players and desirable players?
Mhm. So, yeah, NIL, I mean, it's raised the level of tennis, right? From the top down, it's what it's done is there's players playing college tennis that before they would have gone on to the pros, but
Mm-hmm.
now they're playing college tennis. Okay. Those players are not on my team, but what it's done is it's raised the top level, which has been a trickle down. Okay. So like we
So
had
explain how that
yeah,
works.
so let's say let's say there's a player who at the best player in the country or the fifth best player in the country in the past would have gone pro. They were in college and they would have decided not to come back. They would have gone pro. Well, now they're getting paid, so they're staying in college and they're playing pro tournaments at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so they're doing both and they're doing a great job on both. They're playing the a full pro schedule and they're playing almost a full college schedule. So that person has a spot on that team, which means that's not a spot for somebody else. So the trickle down is that there's it affects all levels, right? Um, so the level of tennis that like the Wofford, we're a small Division One school. We play in the Southern Conference, mid-major Division One school. The level's incredible. I mean, you can watch us play. I mean, it's like, wow, these players are really good, and they're getting better all the time. Um, so, I mean, the top level are pros, right? They're the top level are pros. They're you the top level of college tennis is similar to a challenger tournament.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, in terms of ratings, rankings, which I hate to go there, but I'm going there. In the past, before NIL, a player who was ranked, let's say, top 20 in the country in their recruiting class,
Yep.
they would have had a lot of options in terms of the top of the food chain in college tennis. Now, that top 20 person is being bumped by the top 10 person or the top 5 person who in the
Yep.
past would have gone straight to the pro leagues, instead is choosing to spend time in college taking up those lineup spots, those
Yep.
roster spots.
Yep.
So now number 20 is being forced to look at a different level of college tennis program than they would have maybe looked at
Sure.
prior to NIL.
Sure. Yeah.
And so what it's doing is it's deepening the level of college tennis, whereas before maybe just the top 5 schools had all the top players. Now you're getting really good players
Right.
at a mid-major like
Right.
Wofford.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, the top player in the country from Columbia um, beat Sebastian Corda this year, who just won the Delray Beach Open this past weekend.
Yeah.
And he's going to
Yeah, the
graduate from
level's
Columbia.
incredible.
And he's going to graduate from Columbia in May with a psychology degree.
Yeah.
Um, so,
But what
um,
that means too for these junior players is they now need to really understand how important it is to widen the funnel
yeah,
when they are looking at schools for their college career,
yeah.
right?
The level. So we played UNC Asheville a couple of days ago, Um, and I was talking with one of my former players who remembered he played UNC Asheville's number 5 player when he was a freshman, and he had 2 set points against UNC Asheville's number 5 player. Well, UNC Asheville's number 5 player is the 2024 Wimbledon doubles champion and the 2025 Australian Open doubles champion from you. And so to think like, gosh, and my number 5 player, that guy, he's got a great job selling oatmeal now, but the guy who he almost beat went on to win Wimbledon doubles and win the Australian Open doubles. So the level of all college tennis is really, really high. And then, I mean, there's a lot of good fits, like a lot of good fits, a lot of good places to go.
Right. So now it's not just let's see who the top 5 programs are, and that's where I'm focusing my efforts as a high school sophomore, junior.
Mm.
Now I need to really dig in and start looking and considering these programs where I still may not make the top 6 because they're getting players, you are getting
Yeah,
players that may not have considered a Wofford in the past.
yeah. And I think you've said this before, there's a place for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
There's a place if you want to play college tennis, there's a place for everybody. Um, and I'm a big believer that college tennis is a great asset to anybody's life. If you can play college tennis, yeah, you should play college tennis. Um, and at a place where you can play, you should play college tennis. The benefits are incredible. Um, as I look back at like former players and the experience and how they're having rich lives now. Yep, great investment, right? We love tennis, we love college tennis, we love junior tennis. Um, it teaches so much. And there's a reason. I mean, college sports, there's a reason that America has college sports. Most of it's not for entertainment. Most of it's for education. Like uh, America believes in the educate that athletics is a good addendum to the academic experience of a college student, not
Mm-hmm.
just entertainment, right? So if you
Right.
play if you play on a huge on a Power Four basketball team, you are an entertainer. But most college athletes, if they're not entertainers, they're they're supplementing their academic experience,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's so worth
And
it.
it's so worth it. And they're making connections, they're getting life experiences that are going to serve them, for the rest of their life,
Yeah,
obviously. Um, One of the things you said to me is that junior coaching is becoming more important than ever with the current landscape in
Mm.
college tennis. Let's dig into that a little bit. What do you mean by that, and what is it that families need to be looking for in a junior tennis coaching experience?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean I coach a couple young people. Um, and I want to be really good technically. I mean, I want to help them technically. That's super important. So I continue to be a student of the game as a coach, and I think that piece is really important. But I think the parents that of the I just coach a few kids, and the parents of the like they want me to have influence on their young person's life in a valuable way. Like, is this person, like, I would never let my child be with somebody that I didn't like. They might be a good tennis coach, but if they weren't adding value as like to that person's character, I would never let my
Mm,
child be around that person. Um,
right.
I mean, I just wouldn't. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be worth it. So I think that's like as a parent, like I want you to challenge the parents, like make sure that this coach has values that you see as important, and they're adding value to your child's life in a really, really like an important way. And I'm talking about into their personhood, into their soul, right? And
Right.
that's important. And that's more important than the tennis piece. Now, the tennis piece is important, right? They need to be really good at the technical part and the motivational part and physical and that piece. They need to be good at that, but they need to be good at all those pieces, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that's really tough. And honestly, it's the question I get asked pretty much the most when I interact with parents is how do I find a good coach for my child?
Hmm.
Look, if you live in Southern California, if you live in Florida, if you live in the Atlanta area, there Texas, parts of Texas, there are great coaches on pretty much every street corner. If you don't live in those tennis hotbeds,
Hmm.
it's oftentimes very difficult to find a coach that has the technical knowledge, that
Hmm.
has the coaching skills, the motivation, understands the fitness piece, the nutrition piece, the mental side, but more importantly, finding that good soul that's going to impact your child's hopefully good soul and asking the right questions, doing your homework. This is difficult stuff,
Hmm.
but it's necessary stuff. We've got to protect our
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I would say like for parents to use their gut instinct on that. You like read the room. So like we say, like read the person, watch. Um, watch. Of course you should watch,
Yeah,
you should
right.
definitely watch. You should
Yeah, if
definitely
the coach is telling you they don't want you around, maybe that should raise a red flag. Maybe not, but ask why.
yeah. I
Why
mean,
don't you want me around?
right, right. And I mean, the child shouldn't be looking at the parent every time they miss a shot. And I can see why a coach wouldn't want that. But you can solve that part, or
Right.
the parent shouldn't be sighing every time the child misses a shot. I can see why a coach wouldn't want the parent there in that situation. But that can be communicated and solved and pretty quickly. Like stop doing that, and
Yeah.
that shouldn't be a problem. But I would say definitely like the parents should watch and get to know that. I mean, depending on the age of the child, but yeah, I just said it, they're a child, so it doesn't really matter the age. You should definitely be in, yeah, do your due diligence for sure.
Yeah.
And most coaches are great. Most coaches are great, but some are not.
Yeah, for sure. And Rod, when you're coaching junior players and you have a parent who hasn't learned yet how to contain themselves
Yeah.
when they're sitting courtside, because listen, we're all works in progress. What are some of the things that you like to share with parents to help them get better at that piece of it?
Yeah. Well, and um parenting's hard, right? Parenting, you want to
Or
have our buttons pushed. I mean, it's extremely hard. It's been hard for a long time. It's we joke about the mama bear, right? And the
right?
protective nature of animals. So it's real. No one's immune to that. And so it's okay to have those feelings. Um, it's not something to be like, oh, that parent's just that way or they're terrible. Maybe they haven't been a parent before, right? And so or maybe they're bringing a set of experiences into it. And so being a parent, I mean, um, I made a lot of mistakes along the way of being a parent of young when I had young boys. But to just to communicate with the parent like in a respectful way and to say like you want it to be the child's experience. You want the parent to watch and the parent's going to be involved and um but they need to be taught oftentimes like when to um we're not going to talk about the match right after the match. We're not going to critique the child when they lose right after the match. You're gonna let them talk about it on their time, if because you want to have a good relationship with that um, with your child. At the end of the day, you want it to be a good relationship for them. You want them to have fun. You want them to learn a lot, and you want to have a good relationship with them. I mean, that would be terrible to not have a good relationship with your child because of a sport. Um, I mean, that would be
Rod, my audience has heard me say a million times, the number one goal of the parent should be to have a great relationship at the end of this journey. That's it.
right.
The
So,
tennis piece, whatever. But if you've wrecked your relationship with your child,
yeah, don't do
you
it.
know,
You
don't
don't get
do
that
it.
back.
Yeah,
So
right.
I think like I have a son who's in tennis, and I have a son who both my children participated in college sports. Um, one was a runner, and one was a tennis player, and they're 24 and 25 years old, and they both still participate in sport, which is okay. That's pretty cool. So they're going to have healthy lifestyles that way. That's pretty good. But I think like when my son was the runner, it wasn't, well, we have a race today.
Yeah.
He had a race. I mean, if I was running, then if I was running and competing, because I like to run too, if we were both running, then we had a race. But if I was just taking him to the race, it wasn't we had a race.
Right.
Um, I coach a college team, so if it was my match, if it was my team's match, yes. But if my son was playing in a match and he was 14, it wasn't that we had a match.
Yeah.
He had a
And
match.
Rod, talk about why that is an important distinction.
I mean, it's just that you got to be able to separate yourself from your child for your own sake and for their sake. And when you can separate yourself, then you're going to be more. They need you to be separated. You're going to be more level-headed. You can't be. We're already so emotionally attached to our children, but you can't say, it's if because if you say we have a match, we're not playing, they're playing. So now they lose, but you already said it was, well, we're going to the tournament. We're
Yeah.
going to, we have a match today. No, does that mean so they lose and you lose? I mean, they know that. You think they got their own stuff. It's enough, right? To not but cheer for your child and be happy for them, and but it's not like, well, we lost today. No, we didn't
And I
lose
cannot
today.
tell you how often I hear that when I go to
Yeah,
junior tournaments.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we
right.
had a good one today. We had a good day today, or we lost that one. What? No.
No, no. I mean, and you can, like be proud of your daughter, be proud of your son, like be proud of them, but you're not just proud of them because we won, right? There it is. See,
Yeah.
we won. No, you're not proud of them for that. What are you proud about? You're proud that they that they that they went, and it's interesting. I was watching I watched Tommy Paul play Sebastian Corda in the finals of the Delray Beach Open. Okay, I watched it on video. And Seb Corda beat Tommy Paul, and we're talking about a lot of money and a lot of points, right?
Mm.
And at the award ceremony, Tommy Paul said I'm so happy for Seb Corda. He had a tough year last year, and I'm so happy for him and his coach that they won today. And I thought, well done, Tommy Paul. Like, well done. We're talking about a lot of money between the finalist and the winner, and a lot of points. Okay, a lot of points and a lot of ranking points, lots on the line. And that was the finals. I mean, I thought, I want to do that. Like, I want to be that. I want to be that. And as a parent, if we're too connected to our child's results, we have a tournament. It's hard to do that, right?
Yeah.
And that and it's but and so that because the child's going to feel that they lost for you.
Right. They feel the
Yeah,
letdown.
yeah,
And
they
as
feel
you said, they already have all this stuff that they're dealing with when they step on court.
yeah.
They have a lot to remember, a lot to think about. They have their own emotions coming into play that, they've been taught hopefully to figure out ways to keep those under control so they can play at their highest level on that day. They don't need that extra pressure feeling like if I lose, my parent feels like they've lost as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot. It is a
That's
lot, but
fixable. See, we can fix that as parents.
we can, and we need help a lot of times with
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
because the gut instinct is we love our child. We're so invested in this journey that they're on.
Mm.
And how can we help but internalize it and take it all personally? But
Yeah.
we have to not do that. And it's very, very challenging. And this is where good coaches come in.
Mm.
This is where good peer support groups come in. And hopefully, this is where Parenting Aces comes in, to remind all the parents out there that you're going to make mistakes along the way. Rod Ray just told you he made mistakes along the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I've told y'all a million times I made so many mistakes in
Mm.
my journey with my son. But the trick is to recognize when you make that
Good.
mistake,
Good. Good.
apologize for it, own it, and
Mm.
then work on not doing it again.
Yeah. Good. I have no doubt that your show is saving relationships, like saving parent-child relationships from a catastrophe. You
I
know.
hope that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. For
If
sure.
that's all we do, and
Hmm.
I'm using the word all as loosely, but seriously, if that's the outcome of 15 years of doing this, I will feel very proud
Yeah. Well
because
done.
that
Right.
has been the goal, right? And I I think my interaction with people like you, Rod, helps me keep those things in perspective as well because it's easy to get caught up
Hmm.
in results and
Yeah.
rankings
Sure.
and all how many hits did this podcast get and how many likes and who reposted. No, none of that is important. What's
Mhm.
important is the relationships.
Mhm. Yeah.
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 So that's been at the crux of your
Mm.
coaching career,
Mm.
relationships,
Mhm.
having those relationships with your player, making sure that your players feel like they're part of a family when they come to play with you and that family connection continues even after they graduate and move on to their adult lives. Can you talk about some of those experiences, some of the players that you've had the privilege, I hope you feel, of coaching over the years and how you continue to stay involved in their lives beyond the tennis court?
Yeah. Well, um, as I mentioned, in a couple of weeks, we're having an alumni dinner, and we've got a lot of guys coming back for that. And so I'm really excited about that. As a coach, I get paid when they call me and say I got a new job, or I'm getting married, or I'm having a baby, or and sometimes it's coach, I want to talk to you about what I'm learning at work and how it applies to what we talked about on the team, and that happens a lot. What I'm doing in my business and how it applied um, how it applied to the team. So, I think like on our college team, there's a there's a life lesson every single day on the tennis court. And I try to apply that. Like this is how it applies. The disappointment that you may face or the sportsmanship opportunity that you may face does correlate to real life. Um, but there's been so many. So I mean, I could at least I could go on and on. Um, so many. I mean, I could be here all day talking about the relationships, and I think, I think that's what, tennis is such a great teacher, right?
Right,
It does teach resilience. I mean, it teaches resilience, and so yeah, you can get resilience other ways, but it teaches resilience. And if you're going to be successful in life, in business, in a marriage, you're going to have to be resilient. And
for
so
sure.
if you could say, well, how much should I pay to be good at resiliency? I mean, how much you got, right? It's like, I mean, because that's such a big part and it's not having a successful life, but it's having a rewarding life is resilience.
Yes,
That's
I
when
love that.
that's when like that's when, when you make a comeback, right? If it was
Yeah.
just easy, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of talk like difficult things are rewarding, right? There's a lot of talk right now about that. And so, but in tennis is super challenging. Like it's a difficult sport. Um, but those rewarding experiences give our life meaning and value. And that's what that's what we really want for our children. That's what I want for my players. I want them to have happy, rich lives, right? I want them to be contributors. I want them to feel value in their life. And that comes from other people. That comes from those teamwork experiences. Where Gosh, I had to, someone asked me why aren't they yesterday afternoon, somebody advocated for themselves and met with me and said, Coach, why aren't I in the lineup right now? And it was, I care about this person. It was difficult for me, but I'm so pleased they came to me and we had a good conversation. It wasn't an easy conversation, but that person's learning to advocate for themselves in something they really care about. Awesome. I mean, they've spent their whole life, they've played tennis for 16 years or something like that. And
Right.
so it means a lot to them, right?
Yeah.
And they're maybe not quite that long, but a long time. They put a lot into it and it's close to their heart and they're learning to advocate for themselves. Well, they're going to be doing that when they graduate, right?
Right.
They're going to have a difficult boss, and they're going to have to. And how they handle that is going to help them with their promotion or whether they get looked over, right? Those are
Mhm.
people skills, right?
Yeah. No,
And
it's
and
phenomenal.
and if they don't care about it, then it's not as difficult, right? So since they care about it, that conversation was difficult, and they learned how to do it in something that I got overlooked for a promotion, right?
Mm.
So I've got so many stories of athletes that have done that, and done it well, and here they go. Yeah,
I have to ask you, when that player came to you and said, "Why aren't I in the lineup?" or "What do I need to do to
yeah,
get in the lineup?" What's
yeah,
your answer to
yeah.
that?
I mean, at first, great question. Like great question. Um, we have a good team with a lot of depth, and uh, and you've got a good argument. Like, yeah, we should be talking about this. Thank you for coming to see me. Um, and I gave him specifics. I gave him specifics, but also validated him by saying, "Yes, you have a valid argument. Like this is not an easy. In respect to you, this is not an easy decision for me.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know,
I
um,
mean, it's tough because these kids, like you said, they've devoted so much time to
yeah,
getting good at this
yeah,
game.
yeah,
And you obviously saw something in this player to want to bring them onto your
yeah,
team. And now I guess he's feeling like, well, hang on a second,
yeah,
coach said he wanted me. Why aren't I playing?
yeah,
Only six players get to play each match, and the coach's job is to win these dual matches.
yeah.
You know,
So.
it's
Right. And
tough.
the other players improved. The
Right.
player that's ahead of him has improved too. But I mean, I just described life right there, right? The other players
Absolutely.
improved. You're not necessarily doing anything wrong, but there are some opportunities for you. So let's keep going. And I think, what did that player want from me? That player wanted to be heard, right? They wanted to be validated and they wanted to be heard. Um, and hopefully I did that. Hopefully I did that well, both teaching them to continue to do that, but also one day the roles will switch and somebody's going to be coming to them in that same way and to be able to handle that with respect um,
Well, and the player, to be fair, probably also wanted some action items. Like,
mhm.
give me some things that if I do A, B, and C,
Yep.
you're going to seriously consider putting me in. Because a lot of time, I mean, let's face it, these kids are 18 when they show up on
Yeah.
campus, a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're still children. They
Right.
really are. And they don't always know what is expected and what they need to do, and they need guidance. And that's what a coach is. A
Yeah.
coach
Yeah.
is someone who offers guidance. And so I think, I'm replaying in my head my son's freshman year of college, where he sought guidance from his coach and basically was just told, you just need to figure this out. This is your problem to figure out, which is another way of handling things, I suppose, but was not the most effective way in my son's case.
Mm.
I think as a parent, knowing that your child is under the influence of a coach who has that empathy, who recognizes this kid's coming to me, this was hard for them, this
Mhm.
was really difficult. My role is to really listen, to validate what they're saying to me, to give them some things to work on, and then to take a step back and let them do or not do the work. Let's see what they're made of at that point.
Yeah. I think that's, I mean, from a coach's standpoint, that's probably one of the hardest parts of my job, are those lineup decisions. Um,
Sure. And if you're a caring person, as you are,
uh,
Rod Ray, then it hurts your heart
yeah,
to tell a kid, something that's going to be disappointing to hear.
right,
But it is your job. You have to
right,
do that,
right,
and you are helping them grow.
right. I had a player who like wanted to play, never really got in, finally got into the lineup in doubles his senior year. Then he didn't get in his first choice of law school, and he was trying to get in law school. It took years, took years, took years. Well, now he's a lawyer. And he had perseverance, right? And he showed me perseverance when he was trying to get into the lineup. Well, then it took him a long time to get into law school. He went to graduate school and um, um, had different girlfriends along the way, had his heart broken a couple of times along the way. But guess what? He's doing great, right? Well, there's that resiliency piece,
Right.
that I'm so proud of with him.
Right. No, it's great. It's
Wow.
great. As we start to wind down, I want to not forget to talk about your book, because you
Mm.
have this saying, hard comes first. You've written
Yeah.
a book by that title.
Yeah.
Um, I want to dive into that just a little bit,
Okay.
because pretty much everything we've been talking about so far uh, feeds into your kind of mindset of, if something's easy, it's oftentimes not worth
Yeah.
pursuing. It's the hard things that help us become better humans. Can you talk a little bit about where that came from for you
Yeah.
and how you implement that with your players?
Yeah. I mean, um, so hard comes first. The title of my book came about. Most of my players have a story. Okay, I've talked about, got really former players, incredibly successful. Most of them have a story, um, a backstory. They overcame an injury. They overcame dysfunction in their family. Family overcame job loss. The child overcame, didn't get in the lineup, and then now is a lawyer, and usually there's some kind of story, and so and I think we want to spoil our children, right? I'm a parent. I want to give them everything in the world imaginable, right?
Yeah.
um and that's not always the best thing for them, um because we learn through hard comes first. We learn through challenges, so in my case, I had two kids. One who played for me at Wofford, got a degree in finance, postgraduate a year, studying data analytics, and now he's coaching at LSU, and they have one of the best women's teams in the country. And then my other son ran cross country in college, and he has autism, and I learned so much from him and that experience. Like, hard comes first. I couldn't fix autism. So I had to fix, I mean, and I tried to, a special need competitive father. I tried to fix it. I poured more money and energy into it and tried to change it and fix it, and I couldn't. And the result is that I'm the one who grew along the way, right? He's a super cool kid, young man, not a kid, super incredible human being. But I grew from that experience, right? My family grew from that experience. My marriage grew from that experience. My tennis playing son grew from that experience, and it's influenced my coaching in a way that there's no way I would coach the way that I do today if I hadn't had that influence of a special needs son in my life. So that's kind of so many stories and examples where, yeah, something difficult was then parlayed into something incredible, right? Um, so tough things can be used for good. Um, Example, I have relationships with other men who have children with special needs. Um, and I'm doing okay, and I get to be a resource for them. Um,
Right.
so it's um, but tennis is it's so great, you know. I'm teaching a little boy right now. He's 11 years old, and I'm like, and he loves tennis, you know. And I'm like, if he sticks with it, he's gonna have the coolest experience, you know. But he's gonna lose a lot along the way, right? He's got to get good at losing in order to win, right? He's
Yeah.
got to handle that. And that's true in life. Like hard comes first. Know that, right? My college students, life's not going to get easier after college. It's going to
Yeah.
get harder, but you're going to get better at dealing with the hard,
Yeah.
right?
That's so true. And I think one of the challenges as the parents of these young players is recognizing and remembering the opportunity in
Yeah.
the hard stuff, right? And helping our kids understand that because they're still developing, their brains are not done growing
Yeah.
yet. We have to be the voice of reason,
Yeah.
sort of, in all of
Yeah.
this. And so, let's say our kid has a bad day on the court. Maybe there were some bad line calls during a match, or their serve wasn't working. They had a lot of double faults that day. Understanding as the parent the opportunity for learning from that, and then teaching that to our child by saying things like, yeah, your serve was a challenge today. Gosh, aren't you so glad you're going to be able to get out on court with your coach next week and you've got something really concrete to work on? That's going to make the week, have a good purpose because you're going to have something that needs some work before your next tournament and you get to go out there and do it. How cool is that? You don't have to walk off this court and this is the end of what's your
Mm.
opportunity to grow from this, right? No, you have the opportunity now over the next week, 2 weeks before your next tournament to really put the effort in, the work in, and get better at it. So next time you see an improvement. I
That's
think that's a cool thing about sports.
great coaching, Lisa. I mean, I'm like, what you just said, I'm like, I'm taking notes, right? That's
Uh,
awesome. Yeah.
but but it's hard as the parent if we lost out there to separate yourself and find those opportunities. And so that's yet another reason why we really have to work hard at keeping ourselves
Yeah.
separate, letting the tennis be owned by the child. Yes, we're supporting it, but it's not ours, it's theirs.
Good.
Yeah.
Spot on.
All right, Rod, if people want to get a hold of you, because I know after watching or listening to this, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, how do I get my kid in with him? What's the best way for people to
Yeah,
reach out to you?
I'm easy to find. I'm on Instagram. I have a website. I'd love for people to sign up for my blog. It's hard comes first and spot to join the winning team. My cell phone number, I'll give you that, 864-809-8827. You can send me a message if you have questions. I think that's got it.
Yeah, and we'll have all those links in the show
Okay.
notes on parentingaces.com or wherever you're
Yeah.
consuming this. So make sure to check the show notes for Rod's contact info and his social media links. Rod, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm sorry it's taken 2 years to get you back on. Let's not wait another 2 years before we do this again.
Lisa, thanks for having me. Yeah, great job.
Absolutely. And to my audience, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Parenting Aces.